today's spooky spot, we are having a look at McFarlane's Monsters, classic characters with a horrifying twist, the werewolf. The werewolf, really without even getting it out of packaging, looks really impressive. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good sized figure too, a little bit bigger than the other ones that we've been looking at. It also looks like he comes with a couple of weapons or something on his back. It'll be interesting to see that when we get this out of packaging. Some artwork on the side of the figure, the werewolf figure on the side of the package. Also, other artwork on the other side of the package. And on the back, when you think McFarlane, think Monsters. This line of action figures features McFarlane Toys' unique take on classic horror icons. Collect all 6 and be terrified. Those 6 include Frankenstein, the Sea Creature, the Mummy, the Voodoo Queen, Dracula, and the Werewolf. For all McFarlane toys, you can head over to www.spawn.com. In this case, you could see the entire 2002 online catalog by heading over to Spawn. Spot's going to take a very blood-curdling break in this spooky spot, and we're going to get this figure out of packaging. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the werewolf. Don't go anywhere, guys. Stay tuned. While Spot really hasn't been all that thrilled with the Dracula and the Frankenstein that we've had a look at, I have, on the opposite end of it, been extremely impressed with how the werewolf turned out. He's a really fun piece. I'm guessing by the way that he looks, he was more a lab experiment than he was somebody that was transformed into a werewolf. I don't know, call me just crazy, but the fact that he's got all these little mechanical gears and stuff on him as well, and he's got hoses and stuff running to his head, makes me think, yeah, he was a lab experiment. One of the cooler aspects of the figure, among many, is the fact that the mouth is, you can see, let me just move the camera in here for a second. There is a human face as if it's regurgitating the mouth or the face of the werewolf. And initially, I actually didn't even notice that until I took it out of the package and was looking at it, that you could see where that human face is. And it's really a violent sculpt because it looks like he's thrown up not only his innards, but also, again, the face of the werewolf. Also, too, I love this piece on the back here, this sculpted werewolf face. I can only imagine this poor guy, the horrible and painful experiments that he underwent to become this werewolf. And also, too, things like this area right here, this secondary arm, you can see there's a human hand that's attached or was attached to this new piece. So it makes me think that this is a newer transformation, maybe the newer piece, like it could have almost transformed into another werewolf, a different color, and then this was the original transformation. Like he's probably been transformed and mutated several times over before we get the final result right here. Chains, yes, chains are still included. McFarlane could not go without having chains as part of the body. In this case, though, it looks like the chains are attached to his flesh. And also his spinal cord. I mean, it's a piece that you could look at and you'd find something new every single time that you look at it. But that face that's one of my favorites right there. Even the bloodied teeth as this head of this werewolf has been regurgitated out of the front of his mouth. It's a gross yet very satisfying effect. The one thing I didn't really care for was this section right here. It looks like it's some sort of, it probably is skin. It looks like it's skin, but it's translucent. And it's pegged into the top of his head. And I thought, I really wish that could actually come off. But you could unpeg it. This whole section right here unpegs right off. And you get something that's a little more familiar for a werewolf. And bringing the camera in, you can see those really gruesome details of the werewolf. Now, he does have head articulation. He has head articulation, or what looks to be partially a ball joint in the neck, but then it looks like he's also got a secondary swivel in the actual head area of the wolf. And I think yeah, it's just a really, really stiff area of that head. But even though it's slightly discolored, in fact, it's actually gravitating more to almost like this color here. This could maybe be a second transformation into the werewolf. This was maybe the first mutation, and then this one here is the second with the arm, and then this head here. And then, like, just kind of looking more again at these spikes, and just bring the camera back here. These mechanical blades that he's got on his shoulder. I don't really know the reasoning for it, unless they were trying to make the werewolf into some sort of weapon. But you can see that there's blood on one blade, and the blade does have a hinge. It doesn't rotate or anything like that, but it does hinge back and forth. But all these little levers, they move slightly, not a lot though, but they do move slightly. But one of them has pistons. There's a piston here on the hook. This section right here moves as well, and you can see that piston in action here. Really phenomenal pieces. I feel like this almost could have just been a separate piece. This didn't even really need to be on there. And there's enough going on with werewolf here that I would have been fine even without that. But still, it's a nice added touch. And as well as the extra pieces right here, like, I love this mutation in the legs, where you can see, like, werewolf leg. This looks like more of a regular werewolf leg, but then right here, it's just a train wreck of what this possibly was supposed to be. A very unsuccessful transformation. When I took it out of packaging too, there was all these extra wires. And initially I thought, okay, those wires are probably, because as I'm taking it out of the packaging, of course, these twist ties, I'm cutting the twist ties off, and I thought there was twist ties around here, but it's actually just the hosing, or the hoses that are attaching the mechanical end of the werewolf to, again, his head. And it's either maybe to control the werewolf once he's transformed, or it's pumping the serum or whatever is required to make the transformation happen again and again and again and again. It looks like he's transformed, several times over. I would say, and I'm just going to put this piece back on. Actually, you know what? We'll leave it off for now. This probably is my favorite of the Universal monsters, or the McFarlane monsters that we've been looking at so far. For your articulation, we've already kind of covered on the head. The arms have just a basic swivel in the arm, and then he's also got a swivel in the claw, in the hand area there. Also, he's got a swivel at the top section of his arm, and nothing really in this hand section, or I should say this stump area of what would be his secondary arm. He's got a swivel in the waist, though very, very mild swivel. And he's got a swivel in the leg. You got to be very careful with the chain. Hopefully I didn't break the chain off here. Swivel in the leg here, and nothing in the foot. On this one leg, he's got the swivel also in that V cut, but nothing down below in the foot. Werewolf is by far, again, Spot's favorite from this set. We haven't looked at the other ones yet. No, we haven't looked at the other ones yet, but still, based on what we have looked at, I would say the werewolf is probably my favorite so far. For the luxuries that McFarlane Toys has taken with both Dracula and with Frankenstein, I don't think those were all that successful. However, I do feel like the werewolf makes up for it, and then some. They could have easily just had somebody transforming into the werewolf, but McFarlane Toys did that one better. They turned the werewolf here into more of a lab experiment. And I think the end result is very successful. For that reason, I'm going to give the werewolf here a very scary 8.5. Today's spooky spot, we were having a look at the McFarlane Toys, McFarlane Monsters. We're having a look. You know what? We'll take this back off. There we go. We were having a look today at the werewolf. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more spooky spots heading your way. Thanks for watching, as you always do. See you next time.